if the Starship gets out there and it goes through a normal route to the moon without anything special or extra, or any extra, if it doesn't need any special radiation protection, then it will have been that NASA was putting out some BS a while back about radiation belts, spearheaded by the German people. But we will get to the answer to that. If the Dear Moon launch is going to go to the moon, we will maybe in the public sector finally get that knowledge about doing some more daytime stuff today. All right, so that is the Starship. I'll get back to that. I guess I'll look at the tower here too. That's pretty good. Can't really see much from this spot here. There aren't any trucks here this morning either, so. I mean any offloading trucks. There's plenty of trucks, but no trucks offloading any gases or anything else like that. I'll get the shot here of all the trucks on the right. See, it's packed here full of trucks. There's people working on site. Lots of people working on site. 8:44 in the morning. Hey, Tony, morning. I guess I could zoom in a little bit too. Check out the base of the Starship there. There is a lift up on the far side of the Starship there. So they're, I guess, working around that scaffolding on the way far side. I don't hear any of that last night there was a jackhammer going away at apparently some concrete underneath the launch platform. I don't hear that right now, but that was going most of the night. So maybe they got all the stuff they needed to jackhammer off, or maybe they just took a break for a few hours in the middle of the morning. But maybe I don't hear any noise right now, so. I guess I'll unplug the mic here so you can hear the surrounding sound a little bit. Here we go. We have near very quiet sound here right now. No large noises. I'll plug the mic back in. Here we go. So we've got very quiet surrounding sound right now. So apparently what we're planning to look forward to is one of these starships to go around the moon. I don't know if it's going to be the first starship that goes around the moon or the second one that the dear moon people are going to be going. Which, if you know, which starship are they planning to do a manned around the moon? Human-powered mission around the moon. Probably not going to be the first one. Let's try and let them have a little privacy over there. Maybe it's time to get a different shot. Maybe I'll get a shot of the over launch platform. I can. I'll move here to the right and get a shot from the main gate area. I'll pick everything up. We'll take about 30 seconds to a minute to get over to the right here. Here we go. The sun is starting to come up on the east, so maybe we can catch the overlaunch platform before the sun gets too close behind it. Yeah, we got a good shot here. All right, it's gonna be good. There we go. Okay. Lock it in here. Let's see. See, there's not a lot of vehicles running around right now. Some days there are trucks and everything going every which direction. Looks like the table underneath the platform there is, we can see it. I don't know if it's raising or lowering, or maybe it's in position, but we can definitely, I can see some of that on the left side there, some of that table underneath. I'll use my hand, maybe I can get it with my hand here. It's on the bottom between those. Let me find the lens here. Okay, we got the lens. Right over there at the tip of my finger, there's that grating almost on the bottom there. And that fencing we're seeing where the gentleman is walking on the bottom left, that's on the berm. That's on the far side of the berm. And they're doing some concrete work up there. So if you check out the video I put out yesterday morning, I think that's part of the higher area of the berm that they're going to concrete over. That's going to be, I guess we'll be able to see the top of that wall from here once they finish constructing that berm. So challenge to film the berm was the thing I did yesterday morning, and you could see that from the other side, and some of the I guess we could see that fencing on the bottom left of the screen there in the some of those shots I got yesterday morning. Today is the 9th of December, so it would have been the 8th of December when, if you're looking back in time, 2022. There's a truck coming in. I don't see anything in the back of it. It might be hauling dirt in, or maybe it will be hauling dirt away. It looks to be moving kind of slow, so I would kind of imagine it's hauling dirt in. A dump truck. I think I'm going to get the camera today, this morning, from the remote camera site and start taking photos with it, the Nikon P1000, because we're definitely not going to launch anytime soon, and there's possibly a couple weeks, maybe a static fire with the Starship, but yeah, they're not going to do any launches in the next couple of weeks, so I can use that camera for sure and get a lot of close-up shots and put together some videos with those shots. Something I haven't done in a long time. So I will commit to getting the camera this morning, and I don't know if I'll do any shots this morning, but I will get the camera. It's at the remote camera site. I'm gonna have to sludge through a bunch of water and other stuff. My feet are gonna get wet, and it's gonna be not a fun experience, but I will get the camera. It will be fun using the camera and getting the close-up shots after getting the camera. So it's going to be fun, but not while getting it. So it'll be fun to see the property as well again. Zoom out, get some of the chopsticks here. The lighting right now is the sun's coming up, so it's looking a little different than a sun morning view. But we got a lot of clouds here right now as well. Sun's gonna burn off all this fog and stuff, and it looks like it's gonna be a cloudless blue sky today. Hey, Michael. I see something I can get a shot of. Let me tilt the camera down. We'll get some of that area where they offload the methane, get some shots of that. Yeah, Stanley, I did see the crew manifest for the Deer Moon. Yeah, looks like Everyday Astronaut's gonna be on that flight. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do a live stream with it, Tony. I would need to get the Starlink out here, and that's bad news for the Starlink. It's not safe to be driving around the Starlink. It's too delicate over the bumps of the remote camera site, and everywhere else where I drive my truck, it's a really bumpy ride, and there are potholes in the road, and the Starlink's not going to last if I start driving it around. Yeah, Mike says, congratulations for Tim Dodd for making the Deer Moon crew. Compliments, yeah. Says Michael Maxey. Good stuff. You know, the first of anything as far as going into space is not a safe thing to do, but I'm sure all of us, or many of us, would volunteer for that trip. It's worth noting that the oldest person on the mission is the Deer Moon financer, and he is 47 years old. Everybody else is, I think there's one other gentleman on there too who's kind of older, but everybody else is in their 30s. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that works. There is one woman on the primary mission and the top 6 people, and then there are 2 backup women. So I guess if the one lady gets pregnant, she's probably going to get bumped to the and replaced by one of the other women. And if they all get pregnant, they're going to have to get somebody else. Maybe a 4th woman. Hey Jill, good morning, everybody. Yes, Deer Moon, I believe, is riding on the Starship, right? Isn't that true, or is that not true? I thought they were gonna be with him on the ship, right? Basement shut in, yeah, nice to see it, thank you. Yeah, but congrats to everybody for, yeah, that's quite the upcoming mission for some good people, that's for sure. I'll say it again. Initially, I wasn't sure how to feel or think about the Deer Moon thing yesterday when I saw the news, and then I looked at their media about the event and the different crew members, and I felt a lot better. So there is some video that the Deer Moon crew put out, and it highlights the people and things. And you know, these people are going to be making a bunch of creative material and videos about their mission before and after. So it's going to be good for everybody if they if the actual trip happens and they make it back and everything else. So, as Stanley mentions, yes. Yeah, right now we're trying to get the ship to launch, but I guess in several years from now, maybe 5 years from now, they'll do that launch, and the Deer Moon crew will get to space. You know, probably in the next 5 years. If we look at, SpaceX was saying they would launch this thing maybe last September. Okay, I turned it back on. Let me know if we're still good for audio and visual. I'll say the number 5. Let me hear if you know hear and see the number 5. Good stuff, Michael. Thank you. Yeah, some good chatting in there. There's really spotty reception this morning. Yeah, I would be surprised if this thing launches around the moon in the next 5 years. So 5 years from now, if it turns out to be 5 years from now, that'd be 2027 before they go around the moon. So a lot can happen between now and whenever they launch it. And not only personally for the crew, financially for the financer, but also for the economy and the world. So it's going to be interesting. Because the Starship's not ready to launch, and never mind have people on a low Earth orbit launch, and never mind have go to the moon with the proposed Van Allen radiation belts and every other mystery on the trip to around the moon with the Starship. So. Okay, Stanley asks, what do people think about the way the orbital launch mount looks? Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought that it would be ready to launch something off of it a while back, and they've done a lot of work on it. It's a big piece of equipment. Maybe they could have launched it a few times without it being completely destroyed, but maybe they wanted to make it last for a longer time. So that's probably why they're, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any inside information, but maybe that's why they're doing all the upgrades to the launch pad right now. I would suspect it was ready to launch something off of it, but they wanted it to last longer. You know, you can take an ice cube out of the refrigerator and put it on the countertop, and if you're in a warmer climate, the ice cube will melt. So, you know, in the same way, yeah, they're taking dirt out of here. So you can see there's dirt piled up in the back of this truck. Oh, that dirt had a bunch of rebar in it. So, you know, maybe well, I don't know if you saw the whole truck go by, but there was a dump truck that just moved by. I'm not gonna move the camera because we got limited reception as already. So if I start moving the camera around, it's not gonna be good. But it had a bunch of rebar in it too. So I suspect that that blue dump truck that just passed maybe had some of the rubble from beneath the overlaunch platform, because it had a bunch of rebar in it as well as stuff. So it wasn't dirt, it was some type of concrete with rebar. Let me go back in the chat here a little bit. Let's see. So Stanley, that's some of my thoughts about that. Michael says, will the Deer Moon Starship mission clear HLS Starship for launch crew missions to the moon? I'm not sure. I don't know what the Human Life System Starship for it, that's. I don't know what that's about. Hey, Michael, can you explain more about that? The HLS. I'm not really up to speed on that. Yeah, basement shut-in, that was the word yesterday about replacing some of the concrete under there. It's a special type of, stronger type of concrete. Hey, Milanka, good morning. Yep, good to see you. Michael says, I suspect some flame protection is being considered for the orbital launch mount now. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, so I talked with a gentleman yesterday. I spoke about it last night as well, who works at one of the NASA centers, because he's one of the 80 people on the Enceladus Orbilander decadal survey, and for the Enceladus mission. So, and he had said that the military was not interested in anything in deep space. Apparently, the military, as far as he is in the know, which I disagree, is he said that, because I was talking with the gentleman about, well, you know, the top 3 types of missions that get funded are like military, royalty, and I forgot the third one, but there's 3 types of missions that, and religious, religious, that's it. So military, if you're planning to do some type of war type technology or business, that will get funded by the military or somebody somewhere, somebody like a big funding, if you're looking for funding for your business. So military, I guess that's war. Yeah, so military or war purposes, if you're making a big missile or if you're making some type of technology and you're looking for funding, that will get funded. If you're religious, that will also get funded by somebody. There's a lot of religious people on the planet, and those types of religious type things get funding. So maybe I can turn my Ocean Cam mission to a military war type thing. Maybe it can be a religious related as well. And the third type of thing that it gets funding is the spiritual, or no, what is it? Royalty. Third one is royalty. So if I can appeal to the maybe dynasty bloodline of one of these royal families on the earth, that will also get funding. So with the Ocean Cam mission, so if I can turn the Ocean Cam mission into a royal militaristic, what's the third one? Royal militaristic and So I'll start again. We got the military, now we're the war. We got the religious. Okay, it's the religious and the royal. I keep mixing those up. So if we can turn the ocean cam mission to a militaristic, religious, royalty, bloodline type of mission, that will get funding. Everybody else, pure science and everything else, that doesn't get any funding. So, okay. But the train of thought there was that the near Earth missions get funding from the conventional military. I would say the conventional military, because above the different militaries are the world banks and the you got the different what is it? Above the traditional governments and everything else, you have the level of finance, which is the different world banks or the IMF or the central banks. That's it, central banks. And above them are the different, or above or below them are the different think groups, the so-and-so foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, or the different think groups. And above those think groups are the Masons, the Masonics, and the different things like that. And above that is maybe some of the prior royalty from the Swedish or the pharaohs or the Black Brotherhood and that kind of stuff from the royal families of the pharaohs of Egypt and stuff like that. So the above, you know, the top level is the, not only is it the Masons and the world banks, the IMFs and that type of stuff, it's also the royalty from the previous civilizations that have succeeded in surviving, continuing their family lineage, or maybe even reincarnated into certain bodies who now govern the earth. And possibly at that same level or above that are other intelligent beings from other worlds and dimensions who interact with these hierarchy here on the planet. So that's the, if you believe in pyramids of power, and that different things like if there are different energies to the human body, and if there are beings feeding off of these human energies and creating different pyramids over different areas in society to extract either not only the energy but the money collected by the various people, just like you would harvest the wool from a sheep or from a goat or whatever, or the milk from a cow. In the same way, here on the earth we have these different sectors of the economy that are formed into, like corralled into pyramids, like a sporting event, like a big, you can imagine a Super Bowl or something like that. That's, if you see, it's like a big circle, or it's a big group of people, and they're releasing their energy into a larger pyramid structure. And if there are technologies that can harvest that energy, then it's kind of like a pyramid where they're collecting stuff from the people. So not only money for tuition and everything else, but all that money gets funneled up to whoever's there at the top. So, but there's no limit to the areas where you can put these pyramids and create these ways for people to interact. So there are the typical locations, but there are different companies like Tesla or SpaceX that create a whole new economy outside of the normal traditional way of the Earth being structured and functioned, so that it create new players in the grand scheme of the Earth and human civilization. So you know, you're not limited to only those structures that have been existed over time. If you look at the Roman Colosseum and the killing of each other, or fighting, or the bull, killing of the bull, etc. There's different events that happen in these Colosseums, even from the times of the age of Rome, and even in Egypt, they probably had the same type of stuff over there. We look back to Middle America with the different Mayans and where they would take the heart out of a person. So this type of energy or feeding on other people has existed as far back as we can see in our history. So. But Ingo Swann, it was an author. Ingo, I-N-G-O, Ingo Swann was a great author, and he wrote a book about power. You can look at on Amazon, and you see he wrote a book, and very interesting, and he wrote about those types of pyramids and different cultural structures. Pretty interesting guy. He wrote another one about the raising of a child and stuff like that too. So that's a new one that was put out by, since his death many years ago, somebody compiled a bunch of his speeches and writings into a book about the children as well, raising a child, and the changes in stuff. You could check it out. But what we're immediately up against, is we have the U.S. government has been feeding us a line of information since the 1940s, even possibly before that in the 20s. So the U.S. government has been feeding us a line of spiel regarding space and the harmfulness of the, depending on the decade that we're talking about, the harmfulness of the different rays up there in space with the Van Allen belts or whatever. And if you look at the word Van Allen, that is a German word, right? Van is one of the Germans. So when the Germans came to the United States and they kind of created their own organization called NASA, after they did that, they encouraged the Congress to, or maybe infiltrated Congress and then subverted them and convinced them to do away with NACA, and they've been feeding this line of BS about the solar system since the creation of NASA within the United States government structure. So we could consider NASA to be almost as a, you would maybe like a tapeworm, like an animal, if it gets some type of tapeworm in its stomach, that would be, we could consider NASA to be a tapeworm from the Germans. So, and over time it's just grown bigger and bigger, and they've been feeding us a line of BS since then, still having access to the public funds and using those funds for their own purposes. So, NASA is a military organization with a public face, and I think the Defense Department, I've said this as well recently, can't account for over $2.7 trillion of money. And again, I think the NASA budget is around 40-something billion dollars for the next 10 years or something crazy like that, at least as far as the space missions. Maybe they got more money, but I saw a recent decadal survey review, initial review of the decadal survey, and they had like a 40-something billion dollar budget. So if any of you think the military space budget is limited to $40 billion over the next 10 years, I would have to say you're probably right and let you go about your life. But the military is spending a lot more than $40 billion, and if the military can't account for $2.7 trillion, then a $40 billion budget over 10 years in the military sector would be a farce. It would be, if you'd like to believe that, congratulations and welcome to the Santa Claus and to the Tooth Fairy and who else? The Easter Bunny. All those things are probably real if you believe that the military space budget is limited to about $40 billion a year. So. I think maybe it's time to get a different shot of something. I think I'll go down to the side here, and we'll get a shot of the orbital launch platform from the side down that way. So I'll pick up the camera. We'll go get a different shot here. Hold that shot for a little while. There we go. There were some people listening to me from across the road who work at SpaceX, so it's good to get a little clearing of my space here. Hopefully we don't lose the reception while I move. It's about a minute walk here. I'm going to walk down this way and get a shot from over there at the platform. So. If anything happens back there again at the entrance, I'll go back that way. Give it a little rest over there to monopolize the main gate with the commentary. See what we can get in here. I'll stop momentarily here, and then I'll go to the far side of the camera to my left here. They got some of this equipment out in the front. They've had it here for several days, so. I guess I'll set the tripod up. This is a good spot to get this shot. These are some interesting pieces of stuff, so let me hold it here for a few minutes and then I'll continue on to where I was going. Just a minute. Okay, I got this here. I'll go back to the chat. I know I missed a bunch. I'll get back to the chat. Michael says, the downfall of those ancient civilizations is due to their sacrificing the strongest of their people to get gods in hopes of gaining favor. By doing that, they weaken the people. Wow. The 40 billion NASA budget is mostly for NASA operations, research, and development. NASA does get some money from the DoD budget thanks to U.S. SF operations. Hey, Julian. Michael, interesting. Yeah, I guess it is a $40 billion budget, huh, Michael? Good stuff. Yeah, Tony says Ingo, it's a Ingo Swann, I-N-G-O. Swann also wrote and researched remote viewing. That's correct. Malaka. Michael says to Stanley, a flame trench is out of the question because Starbase sits only 10 meters above sea level. We're probably about 10 feet above sea level, not meters. Yeah, so we're much closer. It's more feet than meters. But they could, I swear, we're only about 10 feet above sea level here, Michael. But they could pile up more soil on top of it. Okay, Michael says the HLS, I think it's Human Lander System. I'm not sure what HLS stands for. Is not clear for launching the crew to the moon. HLS is presently to be used to transfer crew to and from the Gateway Station to and from the surface. So with the Gateway Station, would that be like the International Space Station, Michael? Okay, Stanley says, I think it would be feasible to remove the concrete from beneath the orbital launch mount and replace it with a 10-meter deep basin of water. That water would absorb all the sound and heat and vibrations. Very interesting. Yeah, I don't know if all that evaporating water would affect the heat tiles on the Starship. That would be, maybe be a thought. You know, even though it would absorb all the water, the sound, and the heat, would that water vapor negatively affect the Starship heat tiles and other stuff? You know, maybe that's a concern. Okay, I'm caught up. Let me zoom back in the chat here. Let me see. Michael said, Lunar Gateway Station is a space station that sits in lunar orbit. Okay, interesting. So Stanley says, it wouldn't affect the tiles because the Starship would clear the tower in roughly 10 seconds. Oh, that's interesting. Cool. Well, even if they just made it to the Lunar Gateway Station, that would be a big thing, right? Let me zoom out, give these guys a little privacy. But back to Michael's statement about the downfall of the ancient civilizations is due to them sacrificing the strongest of their people to get gods in hopes of gaining favor. Okay, yeah, I guess that's something worth talking about. I've spoken about that a little bit in the past. Yeah, I said this briefly on a recent video. Like, if God were to, if everything is God, right? If the only thing that exists in the galaxy of the universe is God, and every body is embodied by God, in my view, God is consciousness. It's the ability for the essence, which is in everything, to become to be. Right. So, you know, there's the be or not to be. Right. For me, there's no option not to be. So everything in the universe is. So everything in the universe, there's consciousness throughout the whole universe. So everything is. And because everything is, since there's energy in it, and since there's where there's energy, there's awareness, or you can also say where there's awareness, there's consciousness, because the sub-base level of the whole universe is, you could say, is, right? And that is a being. So the structure of the galaxy and the universe is, it is, right? So because it is, there's a consciousness there. So there's consciousness in everything. So for the consciousness to sacrifice itself, for God to sacrifice another being or another person, another body, to gain favor with consciousness, for God to sacrifice God to gain favor with God, is the height of stupidity. So that what they're actually trying to do is gain favor with sub-personalities throughout the galaxy and the universe. There are personalities, just like you call yourself, insert your name here. Just because you call yourself, insert your name here, you know, that doesn't make you a god. It would make you definitely a personality. If we were to give you some type of memory, there are different areas of the brain. If we were able to cut out the area in the brain where personality or identity forms, there would still be awareness in your body, you would still be functioning, but maybe for a certain reason you couldn't remember your name, or maybe you couldn't remember anything past a few seconds. So there are people who live who only have about 10-second bob or whatever, you know. I don't know the names of these people who have this condition, but there are people who live who don't have a long memory. So, what these different civilizations were trying to gain favor was not with God. They had a very limited, maybe too many drinks, and they maybe deleted their ability to conceptualize on a larger scale. But there is only one awareness which permeates the whole universe, or one consciousness, or one being which is everywhere, the substrata of everything. And you can only find that out through meditation. So a scientist will never agree with what I'm saying, because it can only be experienced. It can't be objectively discovered or identified. Consciousness can only recognize itself, and that happens through being. So there is a consciousness throughout the whole universe, which is everywhere, and that's, if you want to call something God, that's God. But if you'd like to identify a smaller sector of the universe and call that God, if you want to identify a single personality as God, you're welcome to do that, because everything in the universe it's all just God. So to sacrifice God in order to gain favor with God, so if you're going to kill your neighbor to gain favor with God, or make a sacrifice on a certain day to gain favor, you're not really appealing to God, because you're trying to kill God and then you're trying to make God happy. So you're doing two opposite things there. So those people who are sacrificing somebody else or something to make a third person happy, that's wrong. So yeah, so those ancient kings and queens who were not meditators, they got it wrong when it comes to God. What they weren't seeking after was God. They were seeking after force and power, capability of action. So if you want more action, that means you want to be in the game. You're not trying to get to the higher level of God. You're not trying to get to the higher level of pure consciousness or pure awareness. At that point where you're trying to get more power over another part of your body, if everything in the universe is only the one body, you're trying to, some people are actually trying to gain height or a better perspective over their self. And the self, you can't gain perspective over the self, you can only be the self. So if you want to gain favor, you know, get a different perspective, get more force, and that's a different game. It's a different kind of game. So. Mamakos says science end. Stan says it seems that like the more we learn about the universe, the more we realize we don't know anything about the universe. Even the misinformation that the universe is 13.5 billion years old. Well, Stanley, yeah, the people who say the universe is 13.5 billion years old are the Western scientists. The Indians, who make up over 1 billion people here on the planet, say the universe is much older than 13.5 billion years old. So you'd have to look at the Hindu Vedas, V-E-D-A-S, Vedas. They also talk about ships and everything in their past as well. So the Western young 1776 nation here in the West has about a 300 or so year history, and we claim that our 300-year history in the West is the truth about the whole universe, and that's a small way of that's a very small stand if you were to compare it to the people over there in India with thousands and thousands of years of history and knowledge, wisdom about the universe. Hey Julian, Malak, okay, let's get a different shot here. So I'll continue on to the left here. I was doing that. I think I got enough good shots of the equipment that was here. That's this is kind of what I want to highlight a little bit, but I'm going to go and get a shot of the orbital launch mount platform over there to the left. So what can you do with this knowledge and wisdom that I've tried to speak about here? Well, you know, be happy, try and do more and more things to not only get stronger or more whole or to more complete or real in the moment, but you can do different things to learn to relax more and more, get more, I guess, get more comfortable, but not more, you know, there's different ways to get comfortable, right? I'm gonna have to put the camera here. This is the best spot, one of the two best spots to get a shot of the platform. So I apologize to the Lab Padre people, but I'm gonna get the shot as well. I'll move to the left here a little bit and get it from the other side as well, but this is one of the two good spots. All right, so I was talking about there's different ways to get comfortable. You can get comfortable financially, get comfortable with food, you can get comfortable with housing, emotional comfort, with friends and family and whatever else you want to talk about there. Now, you can get comfortable with watching good TV shows or whatever. So you can get comfortable here in the physical world as far as society is concerned and peace of mind and everything else. But it's also important to keep taking that comfort deeper and do some, if you can listen to some music and relax with your eyes closed and pay attention and just relax more and more while you're listening to some good music. That's something worth doing as well. You can do some yoga, you need some, get some grain smoothies from one of the health food stores around you. That's pretty good stuff you can do. Or maybe do a day of fasting or 2 days of fasting. That's pretty good. And pay attention to the breath coming out of your nose. See if you can breathe clearly and fully out of both nostrils, or if at this moment one of your nostrils is closed or both of your nostrils are closed and you're breathing out of your mouth. That's all important to notice, because the different foods you eat will allow you to breathe out of both your nostrils or only breathe out of one of your nostrils, or not be able to breathe out of your nose at all. So if you're mouth breathing, there's some different changes you might be able to do to change the health of your body so that you can breathe out of your nose. Yeah, yoga has a lot of information about that. If you look into detoxification, as far as, I forgot what it's called. What is it called? Yeah, there's a lot of terms in yoga. You can go to a yoga teacher or a yoga center, and they can tell you more about the different detoxification practices. In Western medicine, they don't really talk much about detoxification unless they're going to pump your stomach or something. You know, in Western medicine, typically we have a lot of dramatic, very costly things they can do to help get you back into good condition. But you can do these things much cheaper in yoga if you go to a yoga teacher that actually knows what they're talking about. If they're going to start telling you about if you hold this position and tense your muscles and everything else, and to gain more strength and everything else, and that's not really the type of yoga person you want to go to. You want to go to a yoga teacher that's not trying to sell you a pair of fancy pants, someone who's actually spent a few years at a yoga ashram or something and actually knows about the different detoxification practices. Maybe there are different Ayurvedic yoga teachers as well you can go to who will know practitioners or doctors who can tell you about this, or maybe an acupuncturist or a traditional Chinese medicine herbologist. These are all different types of people that can help you out. No matter your condition, there's always more to learn to stay healthy. Hey Ken, good morning. Central Florida, Ken over there in Central Florida. Thanks, Stanley. I get a shot of the top of the tower of the Starship, I mean. I'll come back to the shot of the platform there in a minute. We got a shot of the top of the Starship. We got it. It's in a good view with the sun and everything else. So I'll get back to the platform in a minute, and then I'll move to the left here and get the platform from a different shot. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We got a blue sky behind the Starship. There is a lift, an aerial lift on the left bottom there. Yeah, Gregory asks, are you closer to God when walking down the street or when jumping from a C-130? Yeah, okay, so I haven't talked about this, but it's important to realize that although you can get to a more isolated experience of the source or God or all that is, it's also important to know that wherever you are is the most powerful place for you. If your awareness, if your consciousness really wanted to be in a different state, then you would be there and you wouldn't be looking at what you're looking at here. So for some reason, out of everything in the universe, this is where you are and this is what you're looking at. So there are different things you could do to go out of body and to get to a different place within the whole universe and galaxy and solar system. So you could transport your point of awareness to a different spot throughout all that is. But right here is the most important place for you because you are right here, and out of all the different things you've done in all your other lifetimes or whatever, or at least in this lifetime, you're here, your awareness is at this moment, even though you go to sleep and you probably end up in a different location throughout the universe while you're asleep. Here, at least, it's the most powerful place for you. So, but also, just as everything in the universe is God, if everything's God or everything is the source, everything is embodied by the consciousness, overlaid with a operating system of mind. You know, the lifetime you've lived in this body is like an operating system overlaying the sub machine energy and everything else. So you don't have to go anywhere to interact with God. If everything is made up of God and the only thing that exists in the whole universe is God, then we're already, you and me talking, everything, the wall, the floor you're standing on, it's all God. So there's nothing that's not God or a source. So you don't have to go anywhere to interact with or influence or have an effect on all that is, because everything is always interacting with itself. It's the large universal one being throughout, which pervades, which is always interacting with itself. So the butterfly effect is a term out there which talks about every movement, every breath you take in or out, or everything you do, think about, has an effect on everything else, because there's only one being. You don't have to put any telephone lines between the different locations within God for God to communicate with itself. So everything's always interconnected, and it's really not connected, but the different personalities, localized memories are interacting, but the substrata of being is always one with itself, because it can't cut itself apart. There's only it. So the short of thing, what I just said is, you don't have to kill your personality. You don't have to go away to be one with God or to interact with at that level. So every person, being, whether consciously they know about it or not, whether in their present forward awareness they know about being the source. The source always knows at one level. You can call it the subconscious. The source is always with itself. So you don't have to go anywhere to be one with God. You don't have to go to a church. I mean, if you'd like to, that's fine. If you'd like to do some meditation in the yoga center and calm and still your body and everything else, to be aware of that level of experience, you can do that. But that's you know, you're always there. We're always here. We're not. You can never get disconnected. So, all right. There you go. Okay, I'm going to get a quick shot of the platform and then continue to move to the left here. Another way of looking at it is, if you like to roller skate or if you like to ice skate, in the beginning you might need to lean on somebody so that you can you know, stay up and not fall down, all right? If you're learning to ride a bike, you got some training wheels on maybe, or maybe your parents didn't let you have any training wheels. They'd let you just fall over and learn on your own. But in the beginning, when you're learning to ice skate or roller skate or whatever, it's usually difficult. You got to lean on other people and other stuff. So in the same way, going to church is like leaning on, or it's like training wheels. Or you go into a meditation or yoga center, it's just a training wheels, so that eventually when you learn to go to that state, when you really become familiar with how to do that, you don't have to put the eye pillow over your face. You don't have to put the training wheels on your bicycle. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to do whatever you normally do, whatever your ritual is, to be able to focus enough to pay attention to what you're trying to do, so that you can accomplish rollerblading or ice skating or whatever. You know, because you're always connected to everything. So yeah. Once you got the skill, once you conceptualize it, once you've learned to multitask enough, you can do it without having to go to and do those certain special things. As far as going to an ashram or living in a community where they only do a certain practice or whatever, or maybe going to a university or college where they only study and learn. Now, if you spend all your life in a university or college, you didn't really get out into the world maybe. So in the same, or if you spend all your life in a yoga center or an ashram or some type of religious circle or something, you didn't really get out there into the world and take on forward whatever it is you wanted to learn or experience. Unless you want to spend your whole life in one of those places in a university or whatever. Maybe that's what you're calling for life, is to spend your whole life in one spot and not see the rest of the Earth or the solar system or the galaxy or the universe. And if you're skilled at going out of body, you can see any place in the universe that you want to see. And I've been out of body, off the planet, many times. So much so that in 2000, I think it was 2002, was I'd done everything and seen everything that I wanted to do, and I was like back here in the body. It was like nothing else to see or do, so I might as well be here on the planet and do stuff. So once you've been to the university and you've gone through most of the courses that excite you or whatever, then the next thing you can do is get out of the university and go and go and experience more of other places on the Earth, and maybe teach or learn or whatever. Have a new experience, a new perspective on all that is. So, all right, I'm gonna move here to the left. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, okay, this is pretty much the, with the truck in front of me. This is almost the, this is the best of the best for the next shot that I can get. This is gonna be, this is what I was looking to get, the shot here. Okay, let me go back in the chat. Rupert, okay, awesome, man. It's been fun having you here in the chat, Rupert. You said a lot of interesting, good stuff. Thanks. So, Gregory, closer walking down the street or when jumping out of the C-130? That's what I was getting at, Gregory. You can't get closer to God than you are at every moment of your life. There's no closeness, because if you are God, then you can't get any closer than yourself. So, yeah. Different experience, but not really closer or further away. Can't get further away or closer to God than you already are. So, like I said, everything is anything. Carl says, I'm a firm believer in God and guardian angels. I myself have had 3 guardian angels in my lifetime. First 2 are now in therapy, and the current one has developed a stutter. I got you, Carl. Are those your ex-wives or your girlfriends or guardian angels? Yeah, but for sure, you know, there are different personalities throughout the universe, and whether they're from this lifetime or another lifetime or some concurrent lifetime. I'll speak more about lifetimes in a moment. Yeah, there are people at every level who operate from those, you know, people who die or on the other side who hang around certain people for various reasons, or help people out, or maybe they are some of the angels or whatever from the Bible or whatever. And every tradition has different people. You know, every group of people has people that when they die they hang around. So you can call those every types of people. Every animal has a certain type of being that has died and still hangs around and tries to help or hurt or whatever. So you can call those people angels or whatever. And so everybody has access to some type of guardian angel or whatever. But if you think about it as training wheels, the substrata of the universe is the one source. Or God. There's a God which everything is made of. Not really made up of, but all the personalities and mental identifications are on top of this one conscious entity throughout the whole universe. And so no matter the tradition you're from, it's all the one substrata living in all the different bodies at the same time. So there's, and then between that substrata of awareness or beingness and the personality, you, me, and everybody else here on this planet and on every other planet throughout the universe, and even in between planets, because you don't need a planet for there to be life. There's consciousness everywhere throughout all that is. The whole universe is awake, aware, and alive. So since everything's alive with different types of layers of memory and experience of time and beingness, once all that is has an experience of being, then it starts to have a localized memory. And every localized memory has a physical lifetime, and since there's many layers, dimensions of this being not only has a memory in this dimension. If we have a computer and the computer has a hard drive and we throw the computer in the water, there is a certain type of memory that happens in the water. Even though the computer will short circuit and everything else, the water has some type of history or experience, memory of being moved in a certain way once the computer hit the water. So if you're able to copy the memory in the computer into the water, say we have a hard drive, your computer, your telephone, or whatever you're watching this from, this live stream from, if we were able to take the memory in that object and if we were able to take your computer or your phone or whatever, throw it into the water, if we were able to copy the hard drive of the phone into the water, then the personality of the computer or the phone would continue on in that new dimension, in that new substance of the water, and it would be able to function. So one of the skills and one of the things you have to develop as a meditator, if you want to have experience in the other states, in the higher dimensions, or you can just call them other dimensions, the trick is to copy your awareness, your ability to function, into the next substance. And that happens as you're organizing things while you're sitting there meditating. While you're meditating, you're creating the bridge, you're organizing the structure around which will allow the memory in the object that you normally function within on a conscious aware level into that next higher or different dimensional state. So we're trying to take the awareness that's in your computer and put it into the water so that the memory and all the information in the computer can continue to function in that next level of element, in that next element. So in the same way, when you're meditating or being still or just paying attention or breathing silently or stilly, not only are we focusing inward into the physical matter of the body, you want to allow the memory and the awareness around the body to bubble up so that it can kind of go into that. When you have water and you heat it up, you get some bubbles, and if you were able to transfer the awareness in the water into those air bubble states, just as if you were meditating and relaxing and allowing the energy and the warmth to bubble up around the body, and notice the movements of where those energies move in the body, then you're transferring your awareness, your conscious ability to remain awake without falling asleep, into those other elemental states. And once you really are able to move the energy that's bubbling up around and kind of allow it to gather together into a larger, stronger being and force, then at some point you will focus more on that bubble area of awareness and less on the physical body that you were trying to relax in. And when that happens, you will transform and have a new experience, a new avenue, a new way of movement within all that is the universe. And that through that different dimensional density state, you will be able to explore the universe as an awareness. So that's the key. It's like you're copying your memory into that other density state, and once you copy that enough, you'll be able to move around and do stuff. Oh, buffering. Hey, Rupert. It looks good here right now. I don't see any buffering, but maybe. Gregory says, I agree, but danger does open awareness of universal things such as God. Let me keep going back. Blanca, I can smell. Both my nostrils are open right now, but depending on the types of drinks you eat, if you go to a McDonald's or wherever, whatever clogs your nose up, if you eat something that clogs up your nose, maybe with some ketchup or something else, I don't know what it does for you, but there are certain things you can do that block off your nose. Maybe if you eat a lot of bagels with a lot of cream cheese with some ketchup, that might do it. I don't eat any bagels. Very, very seldom do I eat a bagel. That's kind of cool. I didn't see that before. There's that wall they're building on the far side there, and a couple guys are carrying that piece of wood to the far right side to continue to build that wall. I guess the berm, as seen from our side. That's kind of cool. I like that shot there. I haven't seen that before. A couple guys carrying a 2x4 on the far side there. They're building that. I guess we will be able to see that concrete berm when it gets built up over there. Because, yeah, we can see it right now. This bottom part of the screen will be blocked off in the future once they concrete it over. I just touched the top of the screen. Let me know if we lose the video reception and only have audio at this point. By mistake, I did touch the top of the screen just a moment ago. Let me know if we still got video. So good, thanks. Okay. It's like the black screen of death there. Good, thanks guys. Well, I get a shot of the brief rebuffering. Okay, thanks. I get a shot of the area in front of us, that black area there. I think Julian or some other people on a different live stream said that this was steel. This is metal that we're looking at here. The filled-in structure here. This filled-in area here is all metal apparently. So I don't know if we're calling that cladding or something else, but that is it's not concrete. I was told it is metal. We got a decent shot of it right now. I'll probably do another 4 minutes and then end the stream, go get the Nikon camera and figure out the day from there. If there's something you'd like to see, let me know. I'll do a shot of the tower here too. They started the jackhammering. I'll unplug the mic here so you can hear some of that. There's just one guy going at it right now with a jackhammer. Looks like there's a truck in front of us. It's gonna pull out. I think it's a V8, so it'll get a little loud here too. Let me plug in the mic. So as far as space is concerned, something that quite at length, if there is a universe, if you know we are in the what we call the universe, or the physical matter of the all that is, and if there is if there is an awareness or if there is a beingness, if stuff does exist, and all stuff is made up of awareness behind it, and if that awareness if it's all part of one larger being, then everything in the universe exists, right? So everything in the universe is, be or to not to be. Everything is. There is no simulation. There's a lot more talk coming out about people new into the to the spiritual dimension, or people who are currently relatively new when it comes to spirituality, talking about simulations and stuff like that. Even Elon has pondered whether the universe is a simulation or not. Killing mosquitoes here. But the universe is not a simulation. The universe is the physical matter, the physical dimension of all that is, the vibration of all that is. There's really only two states of being within the universe. That's the awake state and the asleep state. And the awake state of the universe is. The asleep state of the universe, you can call it the passive infinity and the active infinity. The two infinities of the universe, one of them is and the other is not. But the two states exist forever and ever. So there is no, so what I'm getting at here is God, you can imagine God, or all that is, has a changing state and an unchanging state. And the two states of God, all that is, one of them changes and the other is unchanging. But the changing state of God, or all that is filled with many different densities or dimensions. And so throughout all time, there's an aspect of all that is which has always existed, has not changed throughout all of time. And if you imagine a coin, the coin, there's a heads and a tails, two sides to the coin. So there are two sides to God. There's one side of God which is made up of stuff and changes, and the other side of God is unchanging, all that is. So in the same way, all that exists, all that changes, you could call that the oneness. God can play with itself, or it can fight itself. God, or all that is, or the source, can collaborate with itself, with all of its stuff, or it can destroy all of its stuff. And the two states, the one state of all that is, which changes as it begins to recognize other aspects of being within all that is, or as the source interacts with itself in different ways, it can choose to collaborate, or it can choose to destroy. So this is the changing side of the universe. The active side of the universe can collaborate with itself, or it can destroy other aspects of itself. And so the difference between the two sides are that the side that collaborates has more, you could say, has more pie. There's more people trying to collaborate, and there's less people trying to destroy it. So in the larger being of the universe, I think I want to stay on track here. I don't want to get off track, but okay. So back to the simulation. There is stuff within all that is. You call it the universe, and that stuff is it's made up of, it's embodied by, it's activated by. It's one of the two states of all that is, and that aspect of all that is not a simulation. It always exists. The matter of the universe, the frequencies, the different range of frequencies of the universe are all that is. And so the frequencies are not a simulation. The frequencies are as real as anything else. There's only two states of all that exists. One is the state of the unchanging state of all that is, and the other state of all that is, which is the state that changes. And the state that changes is not a simulation, because not only does it exist now, it has always existed. It was never created. It will never be destroyed. The matter, the different densities throughout all that is, the universe, have always existed. So the being which this stuff is made up of, the substance of all that is, you could say the body of God, has always existed. So it's not a simulation, but there are different ranges of experience within all that is, that the different minds, the different operating systems can function throughout. So if you want to be in
Pennsylvania, or if you want to be in Russia, or if you want to be in India, wherever you are is not happy for you. Because if you're living in Australia and you actually want to be in Russia, then you have to get on a plane and go there. So your experience in Australia, where you don't want to be, would be a simulation based on what you want to experience. Maybe that's not a good example, but if you want to go somewhere else, then where you are, you want it to crumble and not be the actuality of your desire. So simulation could be replaced maybe with the word desire. So it's not, if someone wants to experience a different dimension with all that is, within all that is, then the dimension that they're in, the density, the experience of life that they're in, they would want to not focus on that so that they can more fully focus on where they want to go. So if someone's using the word simulation, it's most likely that they don't have an appreciation for where they are, because they obviously want to discover something else. So, but there is no simulation within all that is. Everything, I mean, it can be a relative simulation based on where you want to be or go, but all that is for real. It's not fake. It's not a simulation. So, because every aspect within all that is has equal amounts of access to power. Power is governed by, you can say power is the being of the universe. And the more you get into the localized operating systems, into the different specialized memories based on personal experience, the more you get into the personal experience, the less power you have. Because power is the being of the universe. In the most subtle aspect of all that is, there is no change, or you could say it's the unchanging, the most powerful from a personal history or from a personal experience, the most powerful aspect of the universe is the unchanging, because it's not manipulated, it's not shaped by personal experience. And if you're thinking about force, that's a different aspect. Force within localized realities, that's separate. But power is, everybody has equal access to power, because power is, it's the being, it's the within all that is. So, so every aspect within all that is has equal access to power. I guess access to power is based on how much or little personal stuff you're using at that moment. So go through the chat. Get through the chat. Malunka, can I hire rackets? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Malunka. Yeah, so we're getting up, we're past the time here. Let's see if there's anything else I'd like to talk about. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that simulation, yeah, nothing in the universe is a simulation. Okay, so here's the cream of the crust of what I'm talking about. This is the cream, this is the top of the cake. This is the icing on what I've been talking about. So if there is this being which has existed forever throughout all of time, which is longer than the recorded history of the small people here on the earth, if there is this history in this being which exists everywhere in the universe and everywhere within all that is, everything that is awake and aware and alive, and so the one being can't contaminate itself. So the life which is everywhere throughout the whole universe cannot contaminate itself, because it's everywhere, and the base of all the different life forms within all that is itself. So the one being doesn't have to sterilize itself against itself so that it doesn't contaminate itself. It's only the localized beings of the different worlds which might want to, if they're not strong enough, if they've weakened their different systems. It's said that there is no immune system to the body, but that's something to be debated and talked about further on some other topic. But if the strength of the different bodies, of the different personalities in the different body throughout all that is, have not strengthened or fortified or become closer to source, then they will be affected by other more powerful bodies. You know, all that is, the the base of the universe does not have to sterilize itself against itself, and so the whole universe is alive. But so here's what I was getting at. This is the cream of the crop. I will talk about it right now. So as every place within all that is awake, aware, and alive, then the magical thing is not only for the different personalities and different structures within the universe to recognize the sameness and the presence throughout their bodies, but really the magic throughout all of time, throughout all the different changes of the universe and the many dimensions, is for the one being to collaborate with itself and to create beautiful, amazing structures together. And not only to become aware of all that is, and that all that is in fact itself, and at the base structure the same, and you don't have to sterilize yourself against yourself, but the fact that all that is, not only does all that is have many different ways of functioning and interacting in all the different dimensions, all that is functions in all the different dimensions, because everything that is, and everything that is alive, but for everything that is to collaborate with itself. Because throughout all the different times and all the different perspectives, throughout all that is, for all that is to collaborate with itself is maybe the most magical thing that could happen in all that is. Because we could fight each other, we can fight all the different dimensions, we can spend money on defense and everything else to destroy and find ways of destroying. But if we spend all that money and stuff, not only, yeah, it's important to protect, but it's also maybe more important to learn to collaborate. Because all that is not going to be able to destroy itself. The different memories and thoughts and different civilizations and lifetimes, they will be able to learn different ways of destroying itself in the other bodies. But to construct something, collaborate, and to create something more beautiful can only be done on a larger scale, involving all the different civilizations throughout all that is. So I know it's short and it's easy to create a weapon or a bomb after spending a bunch of money on different chemicals and stuff like that, and learning to destroy another aspect, another personality, another object of yourself in the other body. But it's much more creative long-term to collaborate and create something amazing, beautiful, and unexpected together with all the different beings which do exist throughout all that is the universe. So that is the cream of the crop. That's what I wanted to tell you after talking about the other stuff. I normally don't talk about this stuff unless I get on a track, and so I did tell you everything. So if you are able at all to help us to collaborate at any level throughout all that is very good. Thank you, Malika. Hey, Michael, thank you. If you have, there's a different, if there's any type of disease that you have, there's many different diets and doctors that you can go to. If meditation doesn't hurt, if you want to sit still and pay attention to where there's pain or something like that, fasting doesn't hurt. There's different doctors and practitioners you can go to. If you're in dire straits and you're about to die or something, it doesn't hurt to go to the medical. If there's some type of operating room around you, find a doctor that can help you if you're about to die or something like that. But there's many different ways of healing the body. Whether in some of the movies, these guys are so in the source that they're able to heal their body. In the Golden Child, the child was like surviving on one leaf, in the cage. The Golden Child, the movie with Eddie Murphy. But also there's different diets. There's the Atkins diet. There's the carb diet. There's the high fat, low carb. There's the cooked food diet. There's the raw vegetarian diet. There's the gourmet raw vegan diet. There's many different diets, but there's one guy I like. I like a few different people. I like the intermittent fasting guy. There's several people there. I like the gourmet raw vegan guy, Dr. Gabriel Cousens. I like another guy also called Aajonus Vanderplanitz, and at the back of one of his books called We Want to Live, there's some information there which I've used several times. But you know, we're human beings here on the earth, but we are also universal beings here on the earth, and there's infinite ways to not only hurt your body, get sicker, and there's also other ways to make your body better within this structure that we live within. So those are some of the people that some of the thoughts I have about diet, at least. And if you have any type of or whatever, and there's many options. All right, I'll get in front of the camera. I haven't done that today. I haven't gotten in front of the camera, and then I will end the stream here soon. Paul Mamakos with Ocean Camera Space Corp, also the CEO of Embryo Space Inc. If you want to get out there into space with some human embryos, send some human embryos from here on the Earth to different planets and locations throughout the galaxy or the universe. That's with AI and all robotics and stuff. That's kind of the idea behind that. Yeah, Paul Mamakos, Ocean Camera Space Corp, Prince Paul Mamakos, CEO, and we're looking at the overlaunch platform. There's a bunch of people up there. I don't know what they're doing, but just want to get on camera. It's December 9th, Friday, 2022 at 10:15 in the morning Central Time here in South Texas. All right, I'll do one more minute and then close it down. I don't know who that is, Tony. Blanca says, I love placebo. Yeah, placebo, there you go. I didn't mention placebo. Yep, 50% cure with that, right? I'm wearing my blue jacket on right now, which the mosquitoes can't bite through plastic. So if you got a plastic jacket on or some type of rain coat, mosquitoes can't bite you through plastic. So I have the plastic, maybe Gore-Tex-ish like top on. If I had some Gore-Tex pants on, I'd be much better too. But yeah, I'm gonna close it down. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a great morning. Nice to chat with you, and good to speak about what I know to be true again here on camera. Good shots here this morning at SpaceX. It looks like it's going to be a sunny day. The clouds have been mostly burnt away, all the different mist and everything else. We had some foggy a little bit this morning, not too much, but we had a little bit. Yep. Basement shut in. Nice to see you, Malanka, Tony, everybody here. Gregory, nice to chat with you. Julian, Michael. All right, in 10, 9. Good luck to the first crew of the Starship that was picked yesterday. Check it out if you're just hearing about it again. Good luck to Tim Dodd on that ship. Good luck to the Dear Moon crew, and thanks again, everybody, for another day here on the Earth. Good day, and good luck to you wherever you're watching us from, whatever dimension. And thanks for tuning in. Adios. Nice to collaborate.